All right, Max. Let's do a really quick, way too early 5A.
If I have to go get your lunch delivery, I will. Just let me know.
No, it's not my lunch delivery.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Much like we mentioned last year or yesterday with the 6A, 5A is going to go through a bit of a reset.
Right.
And I do think that they're going to have a bit of time here where we're going to have to sort things out. But I do think, however, there are a couple of teams especially regions that are a lot more stable than others. For example, I think Region 1, you go back to the well and you say, look, it's probably Aledo. You can't pick against them, especially you got the fresh. With
Jace McClendon now, it's like, how do you bet against them? They've got the best player in Region 1 for the next 3 years.
I mean, Jace McClellan ran for 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns as a freshman last year. They bring back a fair amount of their defense. They'll have to, they will have to, overcome a little bit of their youth. But look, it's Aledo, and you pick against them at your own peril.
Hang in there.
I can't go for more than 30 minutes. Denton Ryan
is
also
an
in
easy
there.
Choice.
They're bringing back Spencer Sanders. They're bringing back a lot of that offense. This is going to be a year that I think they are going to be very, very dangerous. They have good experience on the offensive line, and the defense looks like it'll be able to fill in some gaps. Denton Ryan. I think Region 1 has some clear favorites. Okay. Region 2 is interesting because Region 2 has a lot to do with it is a Rorschach test on what you think of Highland Park.
Right.
Do you think Highland Park was a great team and a true, outrageous, better than everyone else state champion? Or do you think that they were a good team that got white hot?
Yeah.
And so this is a Rorschach test because if you think that Highland Park was a great team, well, there's a lot of reason to think that they're going to be good again.
Right.
Bringing back their quarterback in John Stephen Jones. They're bringing back Paxton Alexander. They're bringing back a fair amount of their defense, including Matt Gamm, their linebacker. This is if they've got a great coach in Randy Allen, they'll be back, right? If you think that they were a good team that got white hot, then there's plenty of teams there that could nip them. And they may not run into the same bracket. They'll definitely go Division 1. Lancaster is always dangerous. Mm-hmm. Chris Gilbert always has a team, and I know that they lost a lot of guys, but they bring back Trevor Hatton, who is probably the best quarterback you're not paying attention to.
Yep.
There's that. Mansfield Legacy is in that mix. Okay, Mansfield Legacy is a very dangerous team to keep an eye on. Jalen Catalan back on the defensive side.
Bring back at least one Catalan, so that helps.
And then watch out for the Colony. Jamel Jones is back, a 1,500,000-yard guy. Watch out for the Colony. That's Region 2. Region 3 is perhaps the most interesting because there is one team looming out there that you have to pay attention to, and that's Cedar Park. Mm-hmm. Cedar Park, you have to pay attention to them year in and year out, no doubt about it. Yeah. Now, look, they've got they bring back Max Sexton, but they have to replace a bit of their defense, which is always the calling card of Cedar Park.
Right.
And then what do you make of Manville?
They lose so many players.
They lose an absurd amount of teams. Oh, guys, that was a very senior-heavy team.
It's Manville, and
Kaysen Martin is back. You know they'll be back. You know they'll be good. But at the same time, how much is too much to lose? That's why Manville is very interesting, and that's why I think I start looking towards Fort Bend Marshall. And a team you maybe didn't pay attention to, but made it to a regional semi or regional final last year and barely lost to College Station.
Bring back pretty much everyone.
Bring back almost everyone.
Yeah.
Fort Bend Marshall, a team to watch out for in Region 3. And finally, Region 4. Very similarly, that you were talking about Manville, you look at Richmond Foster.
Right.
Richmond Foster was an outrageous team. Crazy, crazy playmakers. Almost all of them are gone. They'll have to replace all those guys. I think their defense will be better than people think, but that's a team that has a lot to replace.
Yep.
What do you make of Angleton?
Yep.
Angleton's a squad that does bring back its top 5 rushers, including Tamarick Williams, who's a 1,200-yard guy. They spread the ball around so much.
Might have one of the best players in 5A and B.J. Foster, as long as he comes back healthy.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what Angleton does. And then I want you to pay attention to Bernie Champion.
Yep.
Bernie Champion is an interesting squad, bringing back their 3,500-yard passer, Davis Brin. This team's going to be interesting to watch. Yeah. Overall, again, in a lot of ways, it depends on what you think of pedigree. Because a lot of the teams with great pedigree are losing a lot.
Right.
And a lot of the teams that maybe are on the cusp, like a Fort Bend Marshall,
have
a ton,
Springs.
or Dripping Springs, have a ton coming back, and you say, is this the year that they push it forward?
Right.
So, look, it's still way too early to tell.
Yeah.
We'll be able to, once we get all the information from the coaches, we'll have a better feel on everything. But for now, I feel like 5A is a bit of a guessing game because
you're going between the pedigree with losses and new blood with lots of returners. It's hard to know where that balances out.
The exceptions there for me would be Alito and Denver Ryan. Those two teams look like
Highland Park too.
Highland
Park's going to be great.
Highland Park will be
how
good.
Great we don't know, but they're going to be great.
Right. So that's our very quick and dirty 5A preview. Kind of look ahead. You can see all of the regional outlooks on TexasFootball.com. We'll continue those. Brady Keene doing a good job with those.